So in this lesson, we're going to put together everything that we've learned. There's going to be some things about graphing that we need to remember. We're going to need to know those identities. Everything is going to come together to help us figure out how to solve these trig equations. So before we get started, it would be good to have your formula sheet out, and if you have a picture of the unit circle, that would be another thing to get out. So trig identities, the ones that we learned in the previous sections, are equations that are true for every single possible value of the variable as long as all the functions are defined. So they're true all the time. What we're going to deal with today is equations where maybe only a certain number of values make that equation true instead of every possible values. And we're going to treat things like the sine of x or the sine of theta the same way we would treat an x or a y. We can do the same algebraic work that we've been doing since Algebra 1. So most trig equations have more than one solution. So if the variable is not restricted, the periodic nature, meaning that it can keep going left or right on a graph, or it can keep spinning around the unit circle, makes it so that you can have infinitely many number of solutions. So if you talk about it over one period, then there's two places where each trig function is positive, and there's two places where each trig function is negative. So you could have as many as two answers if we're in one revolution. So if it's restricted to those two adjacent quadrants that we talked about in section 6-8, then you're going to have fewer solutions, and these are called the principal values. So quick review, when we talk about sine and tangent, we're restricted to quadrants 1 and 4. So that means it goes from -90 to +90. And if you're in quadrants 2 and 3, if you're talking about cosine, then you're talking about quadrants 1 and 2. I don't know where those numbers came out of my mouth a minute ago. So quadrants 1 and 2, and so that means that we have to talk about theta between 0 and 180. All right, so that slideshow ended abruptly, but we're going to continue on. So if we take a look at example number 1, again, we have to be very careful to read the instructions because it says solve the equation for principal values of x. So that's important at the end of the question when we go to decide what values of x make that equation true. So when we look at this, my angles match, they're both cosine of x, and my functions match, meaning that they're both cosine. So I'm going to solve this just like I would solve an algebraic equation. So for example, if I let a equal the cosine of x, if I went to solve this equation, this would say a is equal to 3a minus 2, just substituting a for the cosine of x. So we could subtract 3a from both sides, and we get -2a is equal to -2. And if I divide both sides by -2, that tells me that a is equal to 1. So we would be done here. So I'm going to show you we're going to do exactly the same things for this, just using cosine of x as our variable instead of a. So we're going to subtract 3 cosine of x from both sides, just like we subtracted the 3a from both sides, just to try to get this cosine of x all by itself. So that gives me -2 cosine of x is equal to -2. And then I can divide both sides by -2. And we get cosine of x is equal to 1. Oops. So notice over here, if a is cosine of x, we got exactly what we had on the right-hand side. The only problem is I haven't figured out what x is equal to yet. And again, that's where we got to look at the directions and see that they talked about principal values of x. So when it comes to cosine, if all students take calculus, we said never in the third quadrant, always in the first quadrant. And then the other shortcut we took was cross out the one that also has c in it, because I don't want to end up with a quadrant that's positive for cosine and positive for cosine. I want a quadrant that's positive for cosine and negative for cosine. And so that's why cosine is restricted to quadrants 1 and 2 when we talk about principal values, because we want the answer to be a function. I want one answer out of this cosine of x is equal to 1. So because 1 is positive, we're dealing with probably somewhere near the first quadrant, but notice if I put this over 1, cosine is ca, and we're saying that the leg is the same length as the hypotenuse, and a leg cannot be the same length as the hypotenuse. So that means it's a unit circle question. So this is at 1, 0, this is at 0, 1, and this is at -1, 0. And so remember, cosine is talking about the x value on the unit circle. So again, this x is more of a theta versus the x on the unit circle. And so cosine of theta is equal to 1 when theta is equal to 0 degrees. So we're saying our angle measure is 0 degrees. So if you need a minute to process that, go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to move forward. So we're going to do another question where, again, the directions are important. So it's saying principal values of x. And so this one says 2 sine squared of x minus 1 is equal to 0. So if I go to start solving for sine of x, now if we had said a is equal to sine of x, just to show you we're doing just like we did in algebra, this is saying 2 times a squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So I could add 1 to both sides, and I get 2a squared is equal to 1. And then I could divide both sides by 2. And I'm saying a squared is equal to 1/2. Now, when I take the square root of both sides, that's going to be plus or minus. So that means a is either positive, and then the square root of 1 is 1. I'll just do this. We've got a is positive root 1 over root 2, or a is negative root 1 over root 2, which means we can either call this 1 over root 2, or we can call it root 2 over 2, knowing our pattern. So we've got negative 1 over root 2 here, which is negative root 2 over 2. We can still see that. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing over here, but with sine of x. So if we add 1 to both sides, we get 2 sine squared of x is equal to 1. Then if I divide both sides by 2, we get sine squared of x is equal to 1/2. And then just like I did when a squared was equal to 1/2, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Flipping my pens around here. And so just like we did with the work over here, we have sine of x is going to be positive, and then root 1 is 1, and we don't know root 2, or the sine of x is equal to negative 1 over root 2. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that for a second. All right, and so then we're talking about principal values of x. So in this one, if all students take calculus, we said cross out the third quadrant always, and then cross out the quadrant that has an S in it, and then we're going to do that again over here. So cross out the third and cross out the quadrant with an S. So in the first one, my sine of x is positive, so sine is positive in the first quadrant, and then sine is represented by so. So that means that the opposite is 1, the adjacent is 1, and the hypotenuse is root 2, making this 45 degrees. And so in quadrant 1, x is equal to 45 degrees. Did say to express in degrees, so we're good there. Then I have to answer this one. Well, the negative, that means that sine is negative in the third quadrant. So my opposite is -1 when my hypotenuse is root 2, so my adjacent is 1. So that makes this 45 degrees. Now, we said that normally we would take the angle measure that goes around this way. That would have been 315 degrees. But remember on that previous slide, we said sine has to be between -90 and +90, and 315 degrees doesn't match that. So instead, what we're going to have to do is 45 degrees clockwise instead of counterclockwise. And so when I have 45 degrees clockwise, that means x is equal to -45 degrees. So in the next examples, the directions change a little, and instead of saying principal values of x, it's going to say from 0 to 360. So what that means is how many answers, or what are the answers in one full revolution? Which means instead of getting exactly one answer each time for each section that I'm solving, I can get up to 2. Okay, so in this question here, take a moment to figure out, are my angles the same and are my functions the same? And so hopefully you can see that the functions do not match. I have a secant and I have a tangent. But if I see secant squared, hopefully you're thinking there's a Pythagorean theorem in there somewhere. So I have a Pythagorean theorem that says secant squared of theta is equal to tangent squared of theta plus 1. And so what I'm going to do is in this equation, I am going to substitute for secant squared of theta, that it's equal to tangent squared of theta plus 1. So I'm going to say tangent squared of theta plus 1, or tangent squared of x, I should say, plus 1. And then we're going to say plus tangent of x minus 1 is equal to 0. I should say plus right there. Sorry about that. So if I have an invisible 1 in front of my parentheses, I can just drop the parentheses. So I have tangent squared of x, and then I have plus 1 plus tangent of x, and then minus 1 is equal to 0. And so hopefully you notice I have a positive 1 and I have a negative 1, and so they're going to cancel. And that leaves me with tangent squared of x plus tangent of x is equal to 0. So I'm going to let a equal tangent of x. So that means over here we're going to say a squared plus a is equal to 0, which means I can factor out an a, and that leaves me with an a plus 1. So ultimately, a is either equal to 0 or a plus 1 is equal to 0, making a equal to negative 1. So that's how we're going to go about solving this one over here. I'm going to factor out a tangent of a. They've got that in common, or tangent of x, my apologies. So tangent of x times tangent of x gives me tangent squared of x. And tangent of x times 1 gives me tangent of x, whoops, that's a 1, is equal to 0. So that means either tangent of x is equal to 0 or tangent of x plus 1 is equal to 0. So coming down here, we could say tangent of x is equal to negative 1. So in this one here, tangent is TOA. I am not restricting my quadrants because it says I get a full revolution. But if I put this over a number like 1 or negative 1, we can see that the leg cannot have a value of 0. So this is a unit circle question. So it's a unit circle question saying where is y equal to 0, because y is the numerator of tangents. So we've got 1, 0 here. We have 0, 1 here. And we have negative 1, 0 here. And we have 0, negative 1 here. And then this is 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and this is 270 degrees, all right? So in that first revolution, we have y equal to 0 at 0 degrees, and we have y equals 0 at 180 degrees. So the two possibilities for that side are 0 degrees and 180 degrees. So I'm going to pause here and finish this question in the next part of the video.